Pyramid Lake is more than just a striking desert landmark. It's a place where ancient legends and modern struggles collide. This isolated body of water, with its mysterious monoliths and sacred history, has been at the center of creation myths, battles over survival, and a fight to preserve its unique ecosystem for centuries. But the lake's story goes beyond natural beauty. Around its shoreline are the remnants of forgotten railroads, decaying bridges, and abandoned structures. Stay tuned to find out why, as today we discover the incredible history of Pyramid Lake. I'm your host Ryan Sokash, and you're watching It's History. In the heart of Nevada's desert, Pyramid Lake stands out as an oasis. You see, long before it was called Pyramid Lake, this vast body of water was the spiritual and cultural center of the Paiute people. The Paiutes, who called themselves the Noma, or the people, relied on the lake not just for food, but as a sacred place where the past and the present converged. To them, the lake was a divine gift, a place of abundance that demanded care and respect. This connection was celebrated through rituals tied to the natural rhythms of the lake. During the spawning season, for example, the Paiutes held ceremonies to honor the water spirits, offering thanks to two of the lake's most valuable resources, the cui-ui fish and trout. The cui-ui, a species found only in Pyramid Lake and dating back millions of years, was more than just a food source. It was a symbol of renewal and balance. Similarly, trout, which could grow up to 40 pounds here, was carefully harvested with hand-woven nets to ensure the ecosystem thrived for future generations. So, for the natives, Pyramid Lake was more than just water. It was life itself, tied to their traditions and survival. But legends add yet another layer of meaning to the lake. One such legend is the story of the Stone Mother, which tells of a grieving mother whose tears formed the lake, her figure immortalized in rock. Another tale speaks of the water babies, mysterious spirits said to guard the lake and punish those who failed to show it respect. The land around the lake also bears witness to this deep history. Petroglyphs carved into rocks thousands of years ago depict animals, people, and patterns believed to mark seasonal changes or ceremonial guides. These carvings connect the Paiutes to the cycles of nature and stars above it, revealing a profound understanding of their world. Death, too, was tied to the lake's sacredness. Burial sites around the shores hold tools, beads, and other artifacts. I also need to point out that the Truckee River Delta was a hub of life and community for over 9,000 years. The men fished, women wove mats and rafts, as elders passed down stories, ensuring each generation understood the lake's importance. Ceremonies here, accompanied by the sounds of flutes and drums, honored the spirits of the water and asked for abundance and protection. But this delicate balance between people and nature would soon face its greatest challenge of all: the arrival of new settlers. The westward expansion of the United States in the 19th century brought explorers, traders, and settlers to Nevada, transforming Pyramid Lake from an isolated natural wonder into a site of strategic interest. In 1844, John C. Fremont became the first European to document the lake during his expedition. Moved by these striking pyramid-shaped rock formations along its shoreline, he named it Pyramid Lake, a title that overshadowed the Paiute names, reflecting centuries of cultural importance. For settlers, the lake was not a sacred site but a resource. Its proximity to Truckee River made it an attractive location for agriculture and irrigation, drawing settlers eager to exploit its waters and surrounding land. However, this shift in priorities soon brought conflict with the natives, who relied on the lake for their own survival and saw it as a sacred gift. With that in mind, tensions between settlers and the Paiutes escalated into violence in 1860 with the eruption of the Pyramid Lake War. The conflict began after a group of settlers abducted and mistreated Paiute women near Carson River, sparking retaliation by the Paiutes. The settlers' militia suffered heavy losses in the initial confrontation, but reinforcements eventually overwhelmed the natives, dealing devastating losses to their community and permanently altering their way of life. As settlements expanded, they left visible marks on the land. Maps from the period show trade routes like the Truckee Trail, a key connection between Nevada and California, but also a path that ushered in the overuse of the lake's resources. Around Pyramid Lake, remnants of colonial infrastructure can also be found. Wooden bridges, abandoned roads, and homestead foundations. These structures, built to facilitate agriculture and trade, disrupted the natural flow of water and began altering the lake's fragile ecosystem. Settlements like Nixon and Wadsworth sprang up nearby, transforming the natural landscape into an area of agriculture and trade. Early irrigation systems, though small in scale, diverted water away from Truckee River, setting the stage for even more significant interventions that would threaten the natural balance. These diversions, while modest at first, disrupted fish migration and reduced the Paiutes' ability to access the lake's resources. Still, the Paiutes resisted, attempting to maintain their traditions and connection to the lake, even as the land and resources around it diminished. As the 20th century dawned, Pyramid Lake faced a new pressing challenge: industrialization. You see, agriculture was expanding across Nevada, fueled by the water needs of growing farms and the momentum of the California gold rush. By now, the construction of the Transcontinental Railway had already connected Pyramid Lake to distant markets. By 1905, the Derby Dam also changed some of the lake's features. You see, the Derby Dam, built as a part of the Truckee-Carson irrigation system, was designed to divert water from the Truckee River to farms in the Fallon Valley. Founded under the Reclamation Act of 1902, the dam was hailed as a breakthrough for transforming arid lands into agricultural hubs. However, the consequences for Pyramid Lake were immediate and devastating. This dam diverted huge amounts of water into the Truckee-Carson Canal, causing the lake's water levels to drop at an alarming rate. This not only disrupted the fragile ecosystem, but it devastated the fish population. Though once abundant, these unique species were pushed to the brink of extinction, creating ripple effects far beyond the environment. For the Paiutes, who relied on these fish for food and cultural practices, the dam was a serious loss. Now, what I find interesting is that these days, you can still see the remnants of this era around the lake. Abandoned irrigation canals, rusting railway tracks, and crumbling structures are the final markers of a time when the water was redirected to serve the ambitions of a growing economy. In Nixon, the ruins of old storage buildings once used for agricultural equipment tell the story of a region adopting to large-scale water management. Throughout the 20th century, environmental degradation and water scarcity intensified. Large-scale irrigation projects prioritized short-term growth over long-term sustainability, creating a lasting strain on Pyramid Lake. The Paiutes, however, began to fight back, organizing efforts to reclaim their water rights, protect the lake for future generations. Pyramid Lake has faced mounting environmental pressures for more than a century, and today, the challenges are more critical than ever. Agricultural and urban runoff have combined to threaten the lake's fragile ecosystem. Fertilizers and pesticides from nearby farms wash into the Truckee River and eventually reach the lake, fueling algae blooms and degrading water quality. Trash and sewage from makeshift campsites also add to the problem, introducing more plastics and pollutants that harm wildlife and disrupt the lake's natural balance. But like I said, despite these challenges, the Paiute tribe has led efforts to restore the lake, proving that not all hope is lost. One of the most impactful initiatives is the breeding and release program of the local fish. Running in partnership with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, hatcheries help these fish complete their life cycles in controlled environments before they are reintroduced to the wild. These efforts have bolstered their populations, though they still face ongoing threats. The tribe has also spearheaded reforestation projects along the Truckee River and surrounding areas. These projects stabilize soil, improve water quality, and create habitats for wildlife. At the same time, educational campaigns promote responsible tourism and emphasize the importance of keeping the lake clean. Legal advocacy has been yet another cornerstone of the tribe's efforts. By securing agreements to protect the lake's water rights, such as the 1999 settlement, the Paiutes have not only improved the lake's conditions, but also ensured that their voices are heard in critical environmental decisions. And hopefully, the story will only get better. But we'll leave it there for today. I thank you all for watching, and a special thanks to our Patreon supporters for making this episode possible. You guys sent over some amazing ideas, and I can't tell you how lucky I feel to have your support and inspiration. Until next time, this is Ryan Sokash, signing off.